Hi, good evening, and thank you for watching the 2018 Fall Legislative Forums hosted by the Ashland Chamber of Commerce. I'm Mary Gardiner, SOU International Programs and current president of the Ashland Chamber. I'll be moderating the discussion, and moderating tonight with me is Marie Lange, owner of Ashland Homes Real Estate and past president of the Chamber. Tonight we'll be introducing Amy Thuren, who's running for Jackson County Commissioner position number 1. She's running against Rick Dyer, incumbent, who is unable to attend due to scheduling conflicts, and Frank Brannon, who declined to attend tonight's event. Each election year, the Ashland Chamber hosts legislative forums. This year, we're also hosting forums for the Ashland City Council positions 2, 3, 4, and 6. Parks Commission positions 3, 4, and 5, State Senate District 3, and Jackson County Sheriff, Jackson County Commissioner position number 3. All candidates were sent questions prior to the forum. The forum tonight's being recorded and will air on local community television, the RVTV website, and the Ashland Chamber's website, along with additional election information at ashlandchamber.com. The Ashland Chamber has many decades of long relationships within the business sector and through effective community partnerships with SOU, the hospital, and OSF, and with the City of Ashland. We promote business and the community by providing business resources, creating events such as the Festival of Light and the 4th of July. We promote tourism, business resources, and create events such as, and we work at improving the quality of life and serve as the welcome center for the city. Over 700 businesses are members of the Chamber, representing thousands of employees and jobs, and hundreds of community volunteers who are engaged citizens helping to make our community better every day. We believe in collaboration and effective relationships, which we hold dear. So tonight, after each candidate is introduced, they will have a 2-minute opening statement to discuss why they're running for their position and what skills and accomplishments qualify them to serve as an Oregon elected official. Following the opening remarks, candidates will be asked 3 questions with 3 minutes to respond. A bell will ring when candidates have 30 seconds and then 10 seconds remaining. If there is time, they can give a 2-minute closing statement. Then they must adhere to this time restraint. Additionally, each candidate has had to sign a consent form in order to participate. The Ashland Chamber is a private, nonprofit, mutual benefit association. We require that the candidates refrain from any form of speech that includes profanity, obscenity, hate, racism, or vulgarity, or that is insulting or offensive to any ethnic, religious, political, or other identifiable group or individual as determined by the forum moderator. A violation of this rule will cause the candidate to be removed from the forum. We expect and will insist on respectful behavior. This is a forum, not a debate between candidates. If time allows, we may have follow-up questions for the candidate, in which case candidates will have 2 minutes to respond. Using it again, we'll use the bell system. Please note that the candidates' introductions were submitted by the candidate. So now I'll take this time to introduce Amy Thuren, a member of the Medford Chamber of Commerce and a Rotarian. Amy has been a successful businesswoman in the Valley for over 15 years, including leading the Southern Oregon Red Cross. She is currently Executive Director of the Valley School in Medford. Amy is a community leader who has led projects like running the natural playground at Hawthorne Park, building the natural playground at Hawthorne Park in Medford in 2014, which was inspired by her children. As commissioner, she plans to re-engage our citizens' advisory committees, working with them and experts across the county to address the needs and concerns of the community while strengthening our economy. And I'm going to turn it over now to Marie, who will begin moderating.
Welcome, Amy.
Thank you.
So first question and opening is, why are you running? Briefly discuss your skills and accomplishments that qualify you to serve as Jackson County Commissioner.
Thank you. I'm running for Jackson County Commissioner, position 1, because I saw gaps in what our community needs and the current priorities of the county. As an administrator and community leader, I feel that I have the skills and perspectives to be able to address those issues. My history, as you mentioned, at the Red Cross, I led disaster preparedness and response strategies and took our local chapter to a regional structure and then to a national structure. As the Director of Consumer Credit Counseling, I led the new programs for veterans. We created credit report programs to be able to help them be housed. We also started a program for the employees of Goodwill to create financial stability for employees that would then have the ripple effect of affecting clients as well. As the director of the Valley School currently, over the past year, I've been able to renegotiate our contract with the school district and increase our capacity to serve students by 20%. And we're currently remodeling our forever home, and that should be ready to move into about the same time as Election Day, which is exciting. Not only in my professional life, but I've also had community leadership, as you mentioned, the natural playground in 2014. I was part of the Chamber project and volunteered to lead a natural playground project at Hawthorne Park. I had spent years across the street at the Red Cross looking at the park and wanting to make a difference, and that has been great. I was also nominated and accepted into the American Leadership Forum in 2016 and spent a year with 20 other professionals around the state touring communities and looking at what local leaders were able to do, bringing kind of diverse perspectives together. One in particular was in Klamath Falls, looking at water rights from the perspectives of farmers and tribes and government. And that was really a catalyst for me deciding to run for county commissioner.
Great, thank you. So please define how you see the role of a Jackson County Commissioner while addressing regional collaboration.
There's really 3 functions identified for county commissioners, which is the budgeting, strategic planning, and community involvement. I've had a long history with budgeting at my organizations and know that, it's really important for financial stability as well as directing resources towards your priorities for the community, which leads to strategic planning, being able to bring stakeholders together and create that 5 to 10 year plan and then be able to follow it. I think as a county commissioner, it's really important to be able to provide that vision and a roadmap to get there. And the community involvement piece is really vital as well. They are liaisons with different committees, whether it be the marijuana task force, homeless task force, economic development. The commissioners are responsible for meeting with those groups, hearing what the community issues are and bringing that back to the commission and vice versa. Regional collaboration. It's important to work with our regional partners around public safety. People don't commit crimes and stay in the county. You need to work with neighboring counties. That's the same with search and rescue. People aren't going to just get lost in our own county. So being able to work with other public safety. The second that I think is on top of mind for a lot of people is the smoke. So collaborating with Southern Oregon, Northern California on forest management, I think is a key piece that we really need to focus on in the coming years. We've had 3 of our 4 summers be full of smoke, and that has a lot of implications, both economically and with public health. And I believe that we really need to work together so that we're all implementing the same forest management policies and addressing that.
Thank you. So please identify the county's strengths and the challenges you will face as the commissioner.
Okay. I'm going to start with, I think our number one strength as a county is our natural environment. I think people move here because it's a beautiful place to be. I was drawn here. I felt like every day was kind of a different Ansel Adams painting, really. We have opportunities for outdoor activities. We also have every weekend, I feel like there's an event that you could bring your family to, a community gathering. We have farmers markets and really engaged community. Whenever I travel and come back, I am happy to be back. People are friendly. We merge nicely here in Southern Oregon. So those are some of our assets. I think our challenges, especially at the county commissioner level, I can identify some and then some are going to come up. We campaign on certain issues, but then other things rear its head. I think that some of the challenges that I'm hearing are around legalizing marijuana. So the impacts on public safety and zoning would be one. A second is definitely debates around our jail, whether we want to build a new jail or not, and kind of just conversations around that. So with the current system, we have folks getting, just caught and released, and that's creating really an ineffective system, increasing our people creating crimes and then not being able to help stop that. I was doing a jail tour this week and just looking at the potential of building a jail, my first questions are we going to be able to do anything around mental health and making that a priority to help people kind of in the system break that cycle. And that is part of that conversation, but currently we don't have the capacity to do that. And so not only are we unable to stop the cycle of crime, we're also unable to really help with mental health services. And so those are definitely an area that we can do some work.
Thank you. Please tell us the top 3 issues you feel the county is facing.
The top 3 issues for me are housing, jobs, and healthcare. So we're in a housing crisis in Jackson County, and I don't think we're alone. Nationwide, folks are feeling the pressure of not enough units. I think we're 4,000 short just at that poverty and below level. We have folks on 3-year waiting lists, and once they do get a rental, they're paying up to 70% of their income on that rent, which is really unsustainable. There's projects at that county level. The Housing Authority has been successful in securing state funds to create some projects. There's one Creekside Apartments in Central Point that's going to provide hundreds of units, really targeting veterans and families. And at that level, I feel like we should be able to replicate that throughout the county. With jobs, we struggled to bring businesses here because of that housing as well. Folks are feeling like it's too expensive to move here, so the housing and jobs are really interrelated. If we're able to create more building projects, that really does create more jobs. I know in just the remodel that we're doing for our school, we've got plumbers and HVAC and electricians and flooring specialists. So being able to create more housing projects does create and spur job growth. We've got infrastructure projects at the county. And as commissioner, I would want to be able to kickstart some of those programs and projects to put people back to work. There's Lithia Lithia building is a LEED certified building that's using energy efficiency, and it's a multi-use, and I would love to be able to use those practices on infrastructure for county projects. And then if the clean energy bill passes at the state level, I would want to be able to champion that implementation here in Jackson County to be able to put people back to work. And lastly, with healthcare, I believe that everybody should have access to healthcare, especially mental health. I see the gaps in services at the middle school level, so with my students. So much so that this year we hired in a behavioral counselor specialist and would like to do that, or at least highlight that gap and be able to provide more robust mental health services for all ages. I know it's also an issue for elderly on Medicaid. It's not a service that's covered. So really making sure that we have the resources to serve those in need.
So there are numerous tracts of county land within and adjacent to the City of Ashland properties. How would you address the management of these lands on issues such as weed abatement, fire prevention, road repair? You touched on it a little bit, that it is a problem all over, but if you could elaborate a little bit.
Okay. I'll start with saying that I think relationships are really important. So the relationship between cities and county would be key for communication and making sure that the county land that surrounds all of the cities is being kind of equally resourced. I know that weeds have come up at some of my town halls as issues, not only for visibility, but also as that fire prevention. I think back to the Oak Knoll fire, I was at the Red Cross, and that started just right off the freeway and ended up, I think 13 homes were lost during that fire. So it is a real safety concern and something that should be addressed between cities and county and make sure that it is addressed. A lot of questions around roads have also come up, and I think that issue there is just working with the roads department to make sure that as projects are unfolding, they're unfolding, equally, and we're making sure that any of the biggest needs are being addressed. Fire management, I know, that is definitely important. I was at the Fire and Smoke Summit last week with hundreds of fellow community members in Ashland, and with I think 60% of new builds are in fire prone areas, and I know that Ashland is just right on the cusp, and although you can be working with your own forest, your resiliency project, it butts up against county property as well. And as a county commissioner, I would be dedicated to wanting to work with the Small Woodlands Association and federal lands to work in forest management. So thinning, clearing underbrush, being able to do controlled burns on the off season so that the fires are not catastrophic and we are protecting our cities.
Great, thank you. So in closing, you have time to to give us a closing statement, and if there's any follow-up questions, we'll go ahead and ask. But yes.
I want to thank you for having me tonight. I look forward to being able to create a vision for our county that works for everybody and really provide that leadership to bring more voices to the table. We're a big county. We have 12 cities and unincorporated areas, and we can do a little bit of a better job bringing people's voices to the table and making sure that we're collaborating and working to solve these new issues that our county is facing.
Great. Well, thank you. So I don't have.
I think you did a great job tonight. I appreciate you coming in today and offering your views to anyone who might be watching. And so thank you very much.
Yes,
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.